Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is actually a part 2 of a topic that I recently spoke on concerning fear of the future. So this is a part 2. As I read through some of your comments, a lot of people are feeling the same thing, the same type of anxiety towards the future. So I want to give some words of encouragement here, as I did in the last video. And of course, we know where that fear comes from, because fear is not of the Most High. That fear comes when you take your eyes off of the Most High, okay? Not really that you're turning your back on Him, but when you look more at or concentrate more on the things that you see in the world, okay? So I want to talk about that because a lot of people share these feelings, and I'm so glad that I covered the topic. Many of you were grateful that I covered the topic as well, because sometimes you feel alone when you feel certain things, and when you hear others sharing their testimony about these same feelings, it is actually a blessing to know that others have gone through a particular thing and how they were able to overcome it. So the thing is, everyone has a different type of fear of the future. For me personally, I don't fear death. That's something that my husband and I talk about, and we just don't fear death. And I can try to explain to you why I don't, but I just don't. I don't fear death. And just to give you a brief explanation is, I realize that the Most High is the giver and the taker of life. And I also realize that tomorrow is not promised. And so to just cower in a corner, just wondering and looking to see if death is around the corner, that's just not something I do. I've actually been sick or afflicted to the point where I felt like I was dying before. You see, I felt that I would say at least a couple of times in my life, 2 or 3 times in my life, should I say. And so I just don't fear it. But the biggest thing that some people have when you don't fear death is kind of like you've already resolved in your mind that everyone has that appointment. Everyone has that appointment. But one of the greatest points of anxiety for a lot of people is their loved ones. As I look at the world, I see that a lot of people are asleep. They are asleep, and you look sometimes with great concern and sometimes anxiety in your heart when you see loved ones who are so far deep into their sleep that you can't even shake them. And you say to yourself, I wish they can see what I see. I wish I can show them the vision that I see. And so that's a lot of what some of us feel. We feel like we wish we can wake people up. This is why we spend a lot of time crying aloud and sparing not and lifting up our voices like trumpets in Zion. We are hoping that the message would get across to someone, right? But at the same time, we have to be sure and be careful that this push to wake others up is not a point of anxiety for us. This push to cause others to see what reality is doesn't cause us anxiety. We've got to be clear on that, right? Remember the movie They Live, where the guy would put the glasses on and he can see things that others could not see with the naked eye. Remember how he was trying to get others to say, look, do you see this? He was trying to get others to see what he saw. And sometimes it causes you to be a little anxious because you are saying to yourself, this stuff is so blatant out here. And it's unbelievable to me that I could talk to a person and we are all seeing the same things naturally with our own eyes from what reality shows us. We're all seeing the same things. But on a spiritual level, some people are just unmoved by reality. When you talk to a person, someone that you love, and you know what's going on, and they give answers or responses to you as if they don't see anything, as if they have no idea or any clue whatsoever that the world is headed in a direction that was biblically prophesied, that is facing things where men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. You say to yourself, okay, so after all that we have just went through for the past 3 years, after all that is happening right before your eyes, people are dying, people are being killed, a lot of people are just giving in to demonic powers and doing things to others. Perilous times are here, distress of nations. You see all of this, but your eyes are wide shut. I don't mean a person who is having faith that the Most High has it worked out. I'm talking about people who don't even deal with the Most High for the most part, loved ones who are just acting as if they are clueless. That's where we have to learn to reach a point of shalom in our own lives. We can't allow the fear of the future to dictate how we are going to live today. We are supposed to live in shalom. And it's hard to live in shalom when you are looking at loved ones who you just love so much that you can't fathom what their future is going to be like, especially when you see their non-preparation today. When you see people who, if you talk to them about growing food, they act almost as if you are talking to them about Teletubbies or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That old kid show, Teletubbies. How would I look trying to talk to y'all about that right now unless I had a hidden message I was trying to share with you, right? How would I look talking to you about Fred Flintstone, right? That's how some people respond to you when you try to wake them up. They are responding to you as if you are talking about Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble. In other words, I'm not trying to hear that. And so sometimes you can stress your own self out thinking about others and their future, thinking about others and how their lack of preparation can affect you. So get this. It's going to be very difficult. See, I know a lot of people are already to this point because I've read through comments. I've seen people say this, that, you know, hey, they only concern themselves with their own people, their own family, as in their family that lives in their household, right? Not the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, the parents, in some cases, the grandparents, the, relatives like that. Their immediate family is all they concern themselves with, right? But for me, it's difficult to watch anyone suffer. That's just me, and I've always been this way. I've always been the kind of person who look at others, the things that they go through, how they are feeling, and it affects me. And that's one of those areas where I've always asked the Most High to give me strength in those areas, because I don't like to see people suffer. I don't like to see people suffer. And so that has been one of those things that have been weighing heavy on my heart as it relates to people, their lack of preparation and wanting to shake them, and even in some cases trying to douse them with spiritual water, and they are just not receiving the message. It's going to be very difficult for some of us to watch as others suffer when the full force of the crap hitting the fan unfolds. You know what I mean when I say the full force? See, right now we're just getting a taste of it. But when the full force of it happens, it's going to be very, very difficult to turn and look the other way. But it's sad and unfortunate that you're going to actually have to prepare your mind for doing just that. You're going to have to prepare your mind for turning and looking the other way. Because what's going to happen is, especially when the lines of communication are broken, because they're talking about the power grid failing soon. When I say soon, they haven't given us a timeline. They're basically saying that any time this can happen, right? So when that happens and there's no reaching out to your family who lives in this state or that state or in another country even, that's where you're going to have to put on your spiritual mind and keep your mind on the Most High so that He can keep you in peace and shalom. Because when it becomes a reality that we are no longer able to reach those, our loved ones, that are at a distance, your mind is going to be wondering and pondering on what they're doing. How are they coping? Are they even still alive? Are they able to weather this storm? What are they doing? That's tough. Now, for some people, they're so cold, they won't think about those things, right? But for others that have a deep love and concern for other people, it's going to be a little harder, a little more difficult to not think about what friends and loved ones are doing. It's going to be very difficult. As we see certain natural disasters unfold, in most cases, these are people you don't even know, and your heart goes out to them. So can you imagine when a natural disaster happens that's actually going to affect the whole world? That is what we must prepare ourselves for, naturally and spiritually. Because the Bible already warned us. It already warned us that men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. So there are going to be some fearful things happening in the world. But we can't be so to the point of anxiety to where we're worried about things that we have no control over. This stuff was already prophesied. And if you have been sounding the alarm and you have been dousing people with spiritual water, telling them to wake up, telling them to take heed, telling them to fortify, telling them to make moves in the right direction, and they have not done that, but you're now in a position where there's nothing you can do to help them, we are going to have to learn to let it go. We're going to have to learn to let it go, regardless to who it is. Because again, worrying will not add 1 cubit inch to your stature. We know what the future holds as it relates to biblical prophecy. We know these things are going to happen. We also know what the word says as it relates to us. He says, pray that you are counted worthy to escape the things that are going to come up on the earth. So for your own self, you might be in shalom. You may feel very confident that the Most High is going to grant your request and count you worthy to escape the things that are coming upon the earth. But while we are alive on this earth right now, when you think about loved ones, that's where it gets tough. That's where it gets tough, especially loved ones who you haven't been able to reach. And so what we've got to do in those cases is continue to pray that they will get their eyes open before it is too late. But ask the Most High to grant us the strength and the courage and the spirituality to just let it go. Shake the dust off our feet and keep it moving if they don't want to wake up. That's what we've got to learn to do. As I look towards the future, we've had many talks with our children, and we tell them what we expect of them while we're alive or whatever. And we say, Mommy and Daddy aren't going to always be here. We've had those talks with our children. Like I said, I don't fear death. My greatest concern is what the future holds for those who are not preparing. Because when you love someone, you just love them, and you don't want to see them suffer. You don't want to see your family suffer, right? Kind of reminds me of, I did a video some time ago where these children in Australia, these middle school children, they were infuriated at the government over there. They were talking about all of the things that they are allowing to happen that is actually destroying the earth, destroying the planet. And these young people were like, you all are messing up the earth for us. When y'all are out of here, when y'all are dead and gone, what kind of planet are you leaving behind for us? That was the concern of middle school children to the point where they actually did some protest. And so when you think about the kind of planet, because the condition of the planet has been prophesied, y'all. And even if the worst of it doesn't happen in some of our lifetime, even if the worst of it doesn't, it's not just about you. It's not just about me. It's unfortunate that a lot of the older generation as it relates to the future, they don't care about it because they already know they're going to be out of here. But what kind of thinking is that when you have children and grandchildren? This is why we pray that the Most High would deal with our children and our grandchildren in a way to where their minds and their hearts are ready and prepared for these things. That's the thing for me. I say, Father, teach me what to teach them. Teach my husband what to teach them. Teach us what to teach them, so when we are no longer here, they are able to navigate through these things on a spiritual level, not just a natural level, not just with what they've put aside or saved up or stocked up on, but also on a spiritual level, be able to deal with the things that they see, be able to deal with what is happening in the world. Because again, perilous times are here, and it's only going to go from bad to worse. And it is not for us to fear. The Most High has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And when that spirit of fear tries to take hold, you have to attack it. You have to arrest it and not allow it, right? That's why the word says, put on the whole armor of Yah that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. So I thank the Most High for his word. When those spirits try to creep upon us and try to take us out of focus, when they try to take us out of focus, worrying about things that we can't change, worrying about our children and our grandchildren and what kind of future they are facing. When the spirit of fear try to do those things, you go to the word. And when you're done going to the word, you pray and you ask the Most High to give you the equipment needed to properly prepare them. And you also say, look, Father, right now I'm dealing with this one and that one and that one and this one, who seem to not want to hear anything I got to say. But understand this. The scripture also says that one plants, another sows, but it is the Most High who gives the increase. Just look at the fact that you've planted the seed. That's all you can do. Plant the seed and keep it moving. While you're keeping it moving, keep praying for those people. Your family, your friends, your loved ones. Pray for them. Many of you have unbelieving spouses that you love. And you feel anxiety saying to yourself, why don't you see what I see? Why don't you understand that biblical prophecy is going to take place, whether you believe it, accept it, or not? And so your job in those cases, if you have an unbelieving spouse, or if you have unbelieving children or unbelieving parents, your job is to stay the course. Keep the faith. Keep on praying. Keep your mind stayed on the Most High, so that he will keep you in perfect peace and shalom. That's what we must do. I just wanted to do a recap on that because many of you have expressed that you are going through similar feelings towards the future, and some of you actually referenced loved ones. See, for some of us, a lot of people don't really have that fear concerning their own selves. A lot of people don't, right? But it's always when you think about loved ones who just want to stay asleep. There's nothing you can do if you've given the word and they keep going. The only thing you can do, should I say, it's not that there's nothing you can do, but the only thing that you can do is pray for them and not allow yourself. See, sometimes your mind can get ahead of you and you say to yourself, okay, you think of a loved one, you think of your one of your children, or your parents, or just anyone in your family that you love and you're close to. And see, a lot of us, we are in the truth, but we have family, our whole families in some cases, that are not. Some of you are the only ones that are in the truth in your family. And so you love these people and you think to yourself, okay, so if this happens, what is this one going to do? What is that one going to do? What are they going to do? Those are the things that we have to pull ourselves away from, family. We can't sit back and try to imagine how they are going to weather the storm if you have tried to prepare them for the storm, but they turned a deaf ear. We can't sit back and imagine any of that because that's not our job. The earth is the Most High's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. He has given us all an opportunity to look for the truth. He's given that to all of us. And if you have someone who chooses not to, if you have someone who may even scoff at you, think about Noah. Now, the story of Noah is so deep because all of the time that Noah was preparing, people were laughing at him and scoffing at him. He's kept it moving though, right? I can imagine that when things started to get to that point where people realized that what Noah was saying was true, I can imagine Noah and his family heard the screams on the other side of the door. And I can't imagine Noah being a man who said, I tried to tell y'all, but y'all didn't listen. I can't imagine Noah being that way. He probably felt deep sorrow for these people, but there was nothing he could do at that point. And so we don't want the Noah syndrome to be the reality, but unfortunately, that's what it's going to be. A lot of people are going to scoff. They're going to think that you're putting too much time into preparation, that you are thinking too much about the future, that you don't need to think about these things or prepare for these things, whether naturally or spiritually. And so when they get caught off guard, because the Bible did says, like a snare, destruction is coming upon the whole planet. So those who have prayed that they are counted worthy to escape those things, they are going to be in a place where the Most High is going to protect them, right? They're going to be in a place of protection. But those who didn't pray to be counted worthy, they are going to be the ones that the scripture speaks of when it says, like a snare, the whole world is going to be caught off guard by the destructions that are going to be sent from the Most High Yah. We have got to learn to let it go. That's the encouragement that I want to bring to you today. We have to release the fear and anxiety as it relates to our loved ones and the future. Like I said, you may not have that same fear concerning yourself, but sometimes when it comes to other people you love, and they are not taking heed to your words, I think we better let it go. All right, y'all. That is it. As always, keep the faith. Keep your eye on the Most High. He is the prize. That's what we need to focus on, right? He told us in His word that He would keep us in perfect peace if our mind is stayed on Him. So that is the recap after reading some of your comments. Just do what you must. You can't force truth on anyone. You can't force anyone into any direction that they don't want to go in. You cannot do that. Of course, you love them and you are concerned. But don't fret over things that you cannot change. If you can't make a person do something, don't fret. All right? With that, I am out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.